What's going on, Third Army? Joe here, and today I got something a little bit different for you. I have to string up one of the new Epoch Z-Ones for our Never Forget collection with LACROSSE Unlimited. And I've never strung one before. And instead of just doing it up, I thought it'd be fun to kind of film and give you guys kind of a play-by-play about what goes through my head when I string a head for the first time, hopefully to pass on some weird, unique Joe knowledge to help you string sticks better. So we're gonna be using the Bravest pack. We're gonna be doing the FDNY one. I think it should be pretty fun. Heads came in, look great, so let's get to it. Here's the Bravest pack that just released. Absolutely love the way these turned out. Favorite part, for sure, are these collectible enamel pins. So damn cool. And then we got string. We got some cool sidewall, nylon with the gold aglets. Shooters, I think we'll go into using one of those. And then of course, the mesh, inspired by the fireman's flag. Super cool. Absolutely loved it, and it's solid on the back. All right, so as always, we're just gonna stretch the top part of the mesh, leave the bottom still the way it is, and then fold over at the 9 diamond. Typically, we kind of always use a 9 diamond. Sometimes you can use 10, but with modern heads, 9's definitely the way to go. So fold that, and with fiber, tag always goes at the bottom. So the top, we like to fold 2 diamonds. That gives it just a better kind of release at the top of the stick, gives it a little bit more tension, and the change between that top nylon to the mesh is a lot nicer when you do it this way. And we're gonna take our longest string, which I believe is this one. Always double knot the top, so round twice, pull it tight, and then usually 3 fingers for that. Sorry, my hands are a little dirty. We're working on an engine this morning. Did the best I could to clean all the crap off. On this head, I can see right here there's a pretty aggressive recurve. Normally we go to the 2nd hole on heads, but this one we might go to the 3rd. I think it's gonna be too low. We're just gonna stick with the 2nd per usual. Gonna come around that 2nd hole into the top hole in the mesh, and you can see there's the double. Go to the top one, pull it through, and then I always like to double wrap mine, so that comes through the first one. You want this also stacked on the bottom, and then the second one's going to be a little challenging with this head because that hole's a little bit tiny, and we got it. And then through that same exact hole. So then you can see first one, pull that tight. See this little ear? Pull that ear up to the top, pull that tight, and then pull the second one tight. Just like that. And get that nice top string. Then we're gonna do the typical thrown top string. You guys don't know this yet, I'll put a link in the description below to the video. But you're gonna fold the mesh, so normally you string through that hole right there. What we're gonna do is fold the mesh back till we see the 2 gaps with the little bridge. You're gonna go from the back to the front, through that hole, up through the sidewall for the top string. Nice and easy. Wrench it down. And then the reverse, so before we went through the mesh first, now you can go through the head first. Now through that other hole and through the loop on the back. Like that. And you can see now perfectly centered. It's the diamond, a little hard to see with all the coloring that's going on here, but pretty much any stick we ever string, you can take a closer look and really see what we're doing. And then again, it's got 6 holes, which I love, so we're gonna be using all 6, and we'll just skip the center diamond, so same exact thing on most of them besides that center diamond. And then when you get to the center, we're just gonna go through both holes, so like how you would kind of do, but just come right out the other side. And then I'll give it a nice little rail for that diamond to sit on, as you can see right there. And then you're gonna repeat the same thing as you did here on the other one. So we're gonna go on to the next hole from the back to the front, starting with the mesh. And then to finish it off, same thing, second hole, and then you're gonna double wrap it just as we did the other side. So there's the first one, and then the second one. And I like to not tighten it down until I get both in there, just because, I don't know, I just do, I think it's better. So then make sure this ear then is pulled up, just as it was on the other side. Pull the lead string, then the first loop, put my finger here to hold that tight, and then the second one, and sometimes this wants to cross over. So what you need to do sometimes, because this is pretty tight up here, push it. Again, pull that lead string, hold the finger, and then the second one, just like that. We want the stack underneath, not cross over. You can see from the front how it's the same exact cross as the back. Right there, and right there. And then we're gonna double knot it just as we did. For this, pinch the bottom right there. Go around once while still holding that bottom. That'll kind of let you seat the knot as low as you can. See right there, I just let it go. Pinch it back out, pull it around, and then you want to go through that same exact loop again, out, let go, just like that. And there you can see is our double. With your other hand, hold that down, and then pull the lead while pulling on both of them, just like that. Hopefully that made sense. But then you can seat it, and as you can see, it's perfectly, as you can see, it's perfectly matched up, and we have our doubles on both sides. Got that rail there, and then pull this down just a little bit to seat all those diamonds, and then you can see perfect all the way across the top. And I love that string on the head with the mesh. It's the absolute next level. Love it. Cool. So let's get to the sidewalls. First up, I like to just get my knots in, do my doubles, and then think about where I want, because I don't really follow patterns, or, you know, I have an idea where I want the pocket placement to be per the request of the customer, and then I kind of look at the head, and it's a balance between the two. It's not really just like, oh, I'm gonna put a high pocket in this, it's gonna be sick. You kind of need a head that's supposed to be that way. I mean, you can really put any pocket in any head, it just, you're gonna be sacrificing some performance that either one of those components was meant for. Again, we're gonna double this. This is going to be difficult because the hole got even tinier. Look at this. Yeah. So same thing. I like double both of these. You don't have to. The top one's more important than the actual caster for the sidewall. But again, pull the lead string, then you're gonna pull the first loop, and then again, we wanna stack this under. How we stack that one over, we want this one to go under because it's going this way. So then pull that in, seat it right there, and then you can see the two knots are touching, and then the two wraps are going in the direction the string goes, which keeps it really nice and secure, because I mean, fiber 2 string, it doesn't have as bad a problem with this, but some sidewall will start to stretch here, which will change the release, it'll loosen up the top. All right, next up, we're gonna start looking at the sidewall, and as we can see from this head, it's not very aggressive in any way. It's not aggressive here, it's not really aggressive here, it's not really aggressive here. It's very kind of simplistic, nice, even shape to it, and we can see the lowest part's right about here, so it's really looking to be kind of a mid-low, considering when you look at the full release of the head. And since there is no kick out here, we can channel this pretty aggressively without going too far, because if there was a kick out, you'd have a catch point in the stick here, which, you know, is good for some style pockets. This, we're just gonna kind of put in a nice mid-low, probably like a type K is gonna be the best for this. Usually I like to channel it down a little bit and then kind of see where my diamonds end up, and that's either gonna make it a little bit lower or a little bit higher, but nonetheless, we definitely wanna skip a lot. And their holes are pretty tight up here, so we're probably gonna skip around 3. It might be 3, then 2. Yeah, it's pretty straight there, so we'll do that. We're gonna start by skipping 3, and then we'll see if we wanna skip 2, or then maybe even another 3, because they are stacked pretty high. First up, just do an SI. So we're gonna skip 1, 2, 3, go in here, and then up through there. Pretty sure you guys know how to do an SI. But if you don't, come down through the mesh, through the head first, and then back up through the loop in the mesh, and then pull it nice and tight. and lay it flat. I like to use these towards the top of the heads because it pulls the mesh out as much as it can while still kind of being on this rail. There are other things you can do to pull the mesh more, but this is kind of like the easiest, hassle-free way to do it that I just find works and isn't overly complicated or is able to shift. So next up, I thought we'd skip maybe 2 and go here. Let's take a look at that. And then I'm gonna start forming the pocket. So I'm actually gonna do a knot here because I don't want it to over channel too much. And it might if I do another SI. So we're gonna skip 2 and we're gonna throw a knot in. Pull it tight, beat it down, tighten it again. And now since it's a knot, this string won't move. So I don't have to hold anything, which is kind of nice. The benefit of doing the knot. That then also pushes the mesh slightly inward. So you'd think right here that looks pretty good. You know, we'd start stacking it right about in here and give us a nice mid, but I'm getting a lot of slack here. As you can see, let's see if I can demonstrate this. From the front of the head, the pinch point now is kind of curved as opposed to being straight, which makes me, you know, believe that I can channel it down even more, because when I push the mesh up, you can see there's a pretty big curve here as opposed to being a straight line to the top of this head. And I know because the head is pretty narrow in here, that should be more of a straight line. So I'm actually gonna skip another one. So I'm gonna take this knot out. Hopefully it'll come out easy. And I'm gonna skip another hole. So we're actually gonna do skip 3, which you normally don't do. It's kind of a lot of channeling, but we're gonna skip 3. We're gonna go right in here. Again, not, so it's the same thing as an SI, over the top of the mesh, through the head, but then instead of coming up this way, under, you're gonna come up and over, like that. Again, as always, pull the lead string, see my back finger, goes on the knot, pull, and then I like to pull it out and down. And then you can see that just sets everything absolutely perfect. And then, just like the SI, we're gonna come up through here and lock it down. Ooh, it's a little tight. It's a little tight. The other thing is you can see how I'm holding the head here, because then I'm gonna know if the head's flexing, because you can channel this enough to where the head will actually flex inward like that, and that's not good. You're putting too much stress on the head. So I'm holding the back of the head to see if I can feel that flex. I felt it a little bit when it went to the inside, but when it went to the outside, it re-squared itself. And now we're starting to see more of that V as opposed to the U. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm gonna start locking some diamonds down to form that mid. So I'm gonna use knots just to make this fancy and pretty. So I'm just gonna repeat that same process by stacking some diamonds because I want a nice mid-low. And we've already pretty aggressively channeled the top of this stick. So in it down like that. And then back up through that hole. Just like that. And then I'm probably gonna stack, so I always use 10 diamonds. I mean, 90% of the time I use 10 diamonds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then probably go 5, 6, 7, 8, skip 9, skip 10, I'm thinking. I don't wanna go too low because I don't want it to be a low pocket. I wanna be focused here, but I want it to be a little bit shifty, not too high towards the top. So we're gonna add some skips towards the bottom. And that'll just be a nice balance between a mid and a mid-low. Not really forcing this head to be something it doesn't want to be. I'll give you the best performance of both. So now that I got this locked down, these knots get a lot easier. You just kind of repeating the same process and there's a lot less tension. And then when we get here, you want to make sure you're really seating these in. See how this guy's flaring out. So I like to just pull him in as much as I can. Hopefully you guys can see that. Just like that. And then also see how this guy's curving the wrong way. You want to turn him, make sure they're all sitting nice and flat. It'll give you the most hold and the cleanest release. Sitting those all down pretty. All right, now let's recount. We got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we got 2 diamonds left because I said 10. So we still have a bunch of holes. So I think I'm gonna skip 1. And then maybe I won't skip 2, I'll just skip 1 for that 10th diamond. Start pulling the slack up a little bit, get a little better idea what shape we're looking at. I'm gonna skip one hole there for that 9 diamond because we're trying to clean up the bottom of this stick. And then my first gut was to skip 2 here and go into the second to last one. But I think I'm just gonna skip 1 because the curve here is pretty aggressive. So I kind of want that to let the ball come in and sit, but I don't want it to go too low where it's sitting down there, because then, because of the shape of the head, it's gonna be a really long release, which sometimes is good, but for the most part, I'd rather be a little bit snappy coming from that low in the stick. So we're just gonna go to there. And for this one, I think I'm just gonna do an interlock to allow it to shift a little bit more inward. See how it can now go to the inside as opposed to these are all locked down. And then finish off on the bottom and also look good too, because then we'll have that skip, not, skip, not, skip, not, and lock it down. The next up is one of my favorite things to do. Flip the head over, hold it like that, and then pull this mesh really tight to the head, and pull it out like that. And then you can start seeing your channel, see all the good work you did. So we can see right here, there's no pinch inward, making too much on the ball. And then here, you can start visualizing, you can see how it's more of a V as opposed to the previous U. Nice little V right there. This is all nice and clean. There's no buckling on the sides. And then of course, this is going to be our 11th row, the tag. That's gonna be nice and clean. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm gonna do the same exact thing on the other side. All right, so when I get this second one locked down, I'm where I'm gonna start stacking the diamonds to form the pocket. I like to hold this string pretty tight, turn it around, and then kind of just push the pocket in. And then you can start seeing the channel, and you can start seeing if it's gonna be too tight or too loose. And then if it's too loose, you know, you can go back to this side before you finish this side. If it's too tight, you can go back and change before you get to the other side. But now you're kind of seeing what that top third of your stick is gonna look like. And I'm really happy with that. You can see right here with the pinch point on the head, it's pretty much a perfect V to the top of the stick. It's gonna be absolute money. So just gonna replicate the same thing on the other side, making sure we have the same exact diamonds on the same exact sidewall holes, so it's nice and symmetrical. Looking good, looking good. All right, cool. Throw the throat in. Now on the throat, this is what we do for pretty much all of our sticks. A little bit shorter on this, so you don't feel it when you hold the top of the stick. And then from the inside to the outside, removes the tension from the head, makes it last longer, gives you more feel. And then I always use the tag as a guide, but I'm gonna go through this row, and this is gonna be the 10 diamond, but it's the 11th row. And then we're just gonna intertwine, or weave, I guess. I don't know why I said intertwine, all the way across. And since it's the 10 row, we don't have to skip any diamonds. It should work out perfectly. It goes right at the bottom. Square this up a wee bit. And then same exact thing. So from the back forward and out the bottom. Come on, bud. Come on, there we go. Out the bottom like that. Do not tie it. Go to the front. Give it a nice pound. See what we've created. So right there I can see it's right where I want it to be, right in that deep point of the head, and then it's shifted a little bit more towards the top than the bottom, but I want it to be a little bit deeper, so I'm gonna pull this out just a little bit too much. Come down here, take this hand, hold that, pound it out. Make sure this isn't too long. And I would say a little bit in. That. Fold this up, makes it look a little bit better. And tie that knot. Just like that. Nice mid-low. Pretty ridiculously perfect channel. Super smooth. So it's all strung up, very happy with it, wouldn't change a thing. I'm gonna clean it all up, throw in some shooters, and I'll give it my final verdict. Here's the Z-One all finished with the Bravest pack. So this is the FDNY stick. Head turned out absolutely awesome. Love how it's strung up, and this is probably the perfect pocket in my opinion for this stick. Almost to the point where I kind of want to use this even though my current stick is pretty dialed in. Favorite part has to be how the die matches up or where the mesh starts. Completely unplanned, but I think that is such a cool look, how it's just kind of the white section and then it perfectly goes into right where the bottom of the mesh starts, all the way up into the top of the head, and then the white stars with a little bit of that white hits and the mesh makes it super, super clean. This head is absolutely perfect for a playmaking attackman. It's gonna be someone that's gonna be carrying the ball a lot one-handed. You know, an X player, it's gonna give you really quick, accurate, clean feeds. I'm not gonna give you a ton of power on shots just because where the pockets and kind of the shape is, but that's not really what I think this head is going for. It's really just going for quick accuracy. And with this slightly modified, but not too modified Type K, I think it's going to be absolutely perfect. And I just can't get over how nice the channel is between this whole thing. But in terms of the scoop, kind of the simple reflex, simple shape of it, super lightweight, able to get your hand near the ball. It's a really beautiful head. Looks a little different than what Epoch has done in the past, but this combination is absolutely lethal. So here's the two packs side by side. Over here we have the Bravest and over here we have the Finest. And you're gonna be able to get replicas of this direct from LACROSSE Unlimited. I'll have a link, of course, to that in the description below. And if you're looking to pick up one of the packs, we'll have those also on ThrownLacrosse.com. If you guys are digging this new video format, please throw the video a like and let me know what you like or dislike about it in the comments below. That's everything. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the field.